Hey, Syntropic drivers, this is Farmer Jones again on video number 52, I think. And we're on a sunny but windy day here in July in 2024, Central Queensland, Gympie area. Now it just occurred to me that my spacing, I believe, is right from banana to banana. So as you see, we've just been doing our prune, a heavy prune, and a little trick I caught up from New Guinea is they like to cut their stems roughly about here, and they end up rotting away rather than growing back. And you can see there's an example of one in there, and that also holds a fair bit of water in those stems, and eventually they rot and the gravity will suck that water, pull that water back down to the corm. Now notice we're just thinning out this horrible clump because I haven't been able to control these bananas over the last year. I had other things going on and they've just come up like that. And so the trick is to decide which stems to leave behind. Now we all know the grandma, mummy and daughter trick, but in my case these clumps are so substantial and they've got so many water stems pulling water down, I'm deciding to leave two main ones plus a baby. So here we have an example. I chose this one because it has the thickest stem and it has a pretty good sword sucker. A sword meaning that leaf there, in the shape of a sword. If your leaf is round like that, that's a water sucker. And really, you probably just want to take them out, and you can likely best is dig them out, because I'm a bit lazy. I just try and start the growth and feed them to the tree, but you can see the size of that stem. And also look up at the crown. There needs to be at least 6 good leaves, I think, to produce a fruit stem or a bell. So I think that stem is the grandmother of them all. And of course you want to leave the next generation. So that little sword sucker, again, you're looking for the sword shape. And ideally it's almost touching grandma or mum. It's coming from the same corm base. So once this dies, you would cut it about there and the water would go down by gravity to feed this baby here. So in this case, my clumps are so big, I'm leaving one on this side of the alleyway, and then I'm leaving a biggest one over that side. And they're leaning over the alleyways and they're hanging their fruits down. It's very easy to harvest. Now we're clipping all the dead stuff off and anything yellow. And notice we cut these stems off here just below the leaf. And again, I like to watch banana grower YouTubes in Africa and the Philippines and different places, and they reckon there's no point cutting the stem off here because you introduce disease. You cut the stem off here, you've still got a lot of water, and in fact some of that water is dripping out. That water will eventually return to the stem as it dries up, and the name of the game is trying to preserve as much water as you can in the plant. Now my spacing is 4 metres, 4 metres. We have our main tree, our main fruit tree in the middle. We've got our, usually we have our 2 ukes in between that, equidistant, and then we split up the gaps again with our papayas. Now notice when I've pulled the banana over, and I'll demonstrate that again in a minute, it's crossed over directly in front of your theme tree that you're feeding. Now how easy is this? Right in front of your theme tree. You didn't have to drag it, lift it, leaving the stem on. I've done a little X like that. I've pulled the stem over. I'm just leaving it there. Not bending over, I'm not killing myself, and I'm putting the food for the mango right next to it. So I think my spacing is correct. You can argue with me in the comments if you wish. Here's another example. You just take a little X like that. Get a show this trick. You don't have to do it deep X. Just enough to bring the stem over gently so that it's sort of hanging there. It's so easy, isn't it? You're not hitting your sharp tool into the soil or the rocks, and you're not bending your back over. You're just cutting the sections off while it's hanging on the stem. And I've just picked that up watching the banana farmers in New Guinea. So here's another little trick. You notice these cane knives have a little hook on the back. Why would you be bending over, hurting yourself, wearing yourself out, when you can just do this? And pick that up. That's why I don't use machetes anymore. This tool is the way to go. This is a cane knife, but perfect for banana work. So let's go to the next bunch over here, and let's have a little exercise in choosing the stem. So here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, plus some little suckers coming up. So what are we going to do here? Well, this one's already fruiting, so obviously you're going to leave him. This one's the next generation. So this one's probably got another maybe month or not even 5 weeks left until this one comes down. So you want one to replace this one so that you're not left with any production gap. And in that sense, these guys, granted this is sucking some nutrient from this one, but eventually by the time I bring this banana down, this one will be not far off producing either. I notice we've already cut some stems here. I've left that one because it's got fruit. And I've left his next generation over here. And this clump here, I've left this one. I probably could take this one down. In fact, I will, because there's already 2 clumps. So 3's pushing it. I think just 2 in these clumps. Many farmers wouldn't even let 2 stay in this. So this guy here again, fruit trees here, little jackfruit. So we bring this guy down, little X, about the right height. Use your hook, drag the banana down. You've got it right next to the banana right there. And there's our little jackfruit bed. So ideally for me anyway, I've got 1, 2 main stems. So basically that one here should come out. Now you should dig those out, but what happens if they're in the middle of the corn? A bit hard to dig out, aren't they? So chop them up. You can try and slice them, let the water get in there and rot. And I think I've mentioned on previous videos that they like to inject diesel into those little baby suckers, and I think that's the most disgusting thing I've ever heard. So those banana farmers ought to be ashamed of themselves. They're putting in noxious chemicals and petro fuels into their soil, and you can't tell me that that banana corn in the future is not sucking up some of those chemicals into your food. So I think it's disgraceful, and they need to change their practices. You don't have to do it. If you come around this way, you know, I've cut, as you can see, I've cut those little babies off. Now, you can assist the rotting of them just by a little slice down there. Now they haven't grown back, have they? Did I have to inject diesel into those? No. So people just need to rethink things. There's an easier way. They don't do that in New Guinea or tropical places. They can't afford diesel to inject into their food source. So there are ways around it. Even if you are needing to dig them out with a banana sucker, you can. That's a lot of hard work. I like to do things the lazy way. But so far notice that they haven't grown back yet, and they're starting to rot already. So something's going right. And sometimes you will see a little bit of growth come back, but it's not really serious. If you want to assist the rotting of that, just right down the centre, rain will penetrate this stem and start rotting it out from the top. And eventually anyway, that water will seep down and that's going to go downwards and feed these guys over here. So that's a little few latest tips that I've learned up in New Guinea on my recent trip to New Britain and New Ireland. And they're fantastic banana growers. They grow at least, God, I counted 12 different varieties. And some of the stems were that big. So I don't know how they cut through them. They're amazing. So that's over and out for Farmer Jones on our pruning video. Last few videos we did our little talk on tools. And now on this video we're doing a few pruning techniques. And next video we're going to talk about taking down tall eucalypts. So we'll see you on the next one. Over and out from Farmer Jones, Syntropic Agroforestry in Australia. Cheers for watching, and leave your comments and subscribe and all of that. Thanks very much.